the trouble with life on earth is that you can literally do a million things, millions of things. And the problem with talking about each individual thing you could do, of which one of them is suicide, the trouble with talking about all of those things is that we're not understanding the basic fundamental principles that govern the soul. What we need to do is we need to understand the principles that govern your soul. So one of the principles is, if there is an emotion in you that causes you to have and is a source of feelings that are out of harmony with love, in other words, they're unloving, those feelings are best to be released and not acted upon. So in other words, you can feel them, but you don't want to act upon them. Does that make sense to everyone? So let's look at the feeling of suicide as an example. There's an emotion that I want to kill myself. It's an unloving emotion towards myself and potentially towards others. Yeah? It's an unloving emotion, therefore I should not act upon it. The moral decision, the first moral decision needs to be don't act. Can you see that? It's a very first moral decision. If I know the feeling is unloving towards myself or towards somebody else, the very first moral choice needs to be don't act. Then the second moral choice needs to be I need to get rid of this feeling. So what do I do to get rid of the feeling? How do you get rid of feelings? You don't get rid of them by going all stoic, in other words, shut down. You don't get rid of them by living in apathy, do you? Like, just, who cares, I'm just going to leave it there, that kind of feeling. You don't get rid of them by acting in addictions to avoid them, because the feeling's still there. You don't get rid of them by being stupid, right? In other words, acting upon an unloving feeling, that's pretty stupid because you're going to end up with a pretty unloving result, right? You don't get rid of them that way. You get rid of them by going through the feeling in a proactive manner emotionally. That's how you get rid of them, right? And that means not acting upon them, but going through what's the reason why I feel so bad about myself in the case of suicide. In the case of having a desire to cheat on my partner, why do I have this need to cheat on my partner? What's going on? In the case of needing to get drunk every night, why do I need to get sloshed every night? Why do I need to get, we call it sloshed in Australia, why do I need to get drunk every night? What's the reason for that? Right? In the case of, needing to take drugs, why do I need these drugs? What's the reason for it? Not go and take the drug, not go and satisfy the addiction, but rather see that the addiction is unloving and that I need to face the feeling that drives it and feel the feeling that drives it. So Charlotte, does that sort of make sense to you, the very first thing? Or by now you're not hearing?
I couldn't listen, but I'm going to listen back.
Yeah, now, can I also say, the fact that you can't listen to what I'm saying is indicative that there is some spirit influence here trying to stop you from making a better decision, right? So that's also something that needs to be addressed. So again, there's a spirit, a person who's also in a bad moral state, who's around you going, suicide, 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 suicide. Bothering your mind, all that kind of stuff. Why are they there? Why is this unloving person influencing you to do something that's unloving? Why are they getting in your head? You've got to deal with the emotional reason why you allow them there. Does that make sense to you? Just like if there was an unloving spirit indicating to me that I should go and cheat on Mary, I need to ask myself, why do they have any foothold in me? What's that about? And you'll find that's a lot about some childhood issues probably regarding overbearing people, and you're afraid to fight them. You're afraid to disagree with them. So one of the things in your life is very much that you do not like having conflict with anyone, right? And that is causing you to accept the abuse of others rather than just say, no, I'm not putting up with this. I'm not having you in my life if you're going to do that, and just leave the situation. All right? So these things are unloving towards oneself. Now, the wise thing to do is to not act upon them, because the simple matter is they're unloving to yourself. The very first moral choice is don't act upon it. That's number one. Number two, next moral choice, feel through the emotional reason why you feel the need to do it.
And in the case of wanting to die, which is really suicide, we're really saying, I'd prefer to die than feel something. So often when you're working through those emotions, it's working through that first top layer is, I'd rather die than feel. And then you need to, once that's gone, then you can feel what's underneath it. But very often when we've been suppressed in our childhood and we think feeling is not an option, when you come from a very stoic background, you think, I have to keep going, but I can't feel anything. In the end, you end up feeling like I'd just prefer to die than have to feel what life keeps showing me. And the spirits around you are often attracted because they have the same belief. It's better to die than feel something, or you'd be better off dead than feeling something. And so working on that belief, which relates to the Stoicism, is very helpful. Yeah.
Thank you.